Hello everyone and welcome to this video where we look closer to the render distance and how it works in Mortal Online 2. Because many people had the question, does render distance affect player render distance and also object distance? First to the objects. So we are talking about this render distance setting here, the draw distance. You can set this easily in game. As you have seen, many of the grass and a few stones are removed. So for comparison, it can save you a few FPS depending on the environment, and it seems like it's only affecting stuff that don't have collision. Also, the pickables don't seem to be affected, but we will further test this anyway. Now let's compare this with a wider angle. As you can see, the texture down there is changing and a few grass spots, but in the distance nearly no change. Now we check the player render distance. My friend there is running on the road and we want to check how far the distance is more or less when he disappears. And I guess shortly he disappears, and let's look for it. I estimate this is roughly 150 meters maybe, and here he disappears. But here, pretty interesting, he came back and he's not plopping in at that exact distance, just a little closer. And this doesn't change if you change the draw distance setting. The grasses and the bushes. Also some stuff like the rendering of the waterfall, if you are a few hundred meters back, you also can't see the water effects. And now the armor render distance. My friend is riding into the render distance, and then we will see how the armor is loading into the game. First he got rendered, he's riding full speed at me, then always this porting issue, then he has still no armor on, and then only at a very close distance, plop, armor. That is not so far away. They really need to improve that. They did that because of performance, but I really hope they will improve that one day. And here, just for comparison, the objects and the marketplace. Look directly into the center of Fabernum, the market stands and stuff will appear. It don't affect the render distance of NPCs. And now the rendering in the distance. Yeah, I know it's a little too much pixel. Here again. So it actually affects the distance a little bit. And it's so pixelated because it was really far away. Henrik already said that the render distance and the armor distance is already at the maximum. But I still hope that they will improve it for the future, and especially the armor rendering, because that is vital information if you should run, if you should turn around and run or fight. And another thing, if you are a pure PvP player and you have a not so good graphics card and CPU, then maybe turning this option down is a good idea, because it only affects the objects and not the armor loading or the player loading. Also, it doesn't affect the pet rendering, the animal rendering and the PvE rendering. So if you have really hard performance problems, you can turn this option down. But for me, for example, playing at 4K with a high-end graphics card, it only saves me about 1 to 3 frames, always depending on the location. But yeah, I personally will have it all the time at the maximum, but you must look what works for you. So special thanks to Timmy who helped me with this video. So special thanks to our Patreon supporters Carmel, Professor O, Donski and all the others of course. So please leave a like and subscribe, and always remember, partiture! And see you all next time. Goodbye!